So what's the typical activities like for you guys? So you're trying to lock the current players down, but what's it like as an alum?
For me?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start with like, as a student first. Our first year there, we had, I think that was like my coldest time there. I remember like going there and Keegan, like one of my teammates, Keegan's parents came up and it was going to be a pretty good deal. We watched the volleyball games, watched the soccer games the morning of as well. And for whatever reason, I thought I was going to be okay with just like a pea coat and some like jeans. And I swear, I thought I was going to freeze that year. Like it was just the coldest winter ever, but it was like still a really good time. We like got there, go out and just go hang out with the team, hang out with some friends and families and just relax for just a little bit. It almost felt like school had like stopped for a little bit. And we just like were there and just like enjoying our time up there in the mountains and seeing like the leaves finally start turning. As an alum, I came back to 2 years now. The first year I came back up with my roommate Zach and teammate Zach, and we just got to go and again like experience like coming back and like seeing all our friends that we graduated with, and we went to the Bobcat bank and just sat there and watched the soccer game for a little bit. It wasn't as cold this time, so I got to wear some shorts, but it was still pretty good and pretty fun. And I think this year we actually tailgated, so they had people out actually grilling food, and coming back as an alum, people just like sharing food. And we had never had that going on my 4 years there, but as an alum that happened. Then the next year as an alum, I think it came back with a full squad. Like Keegan, Marcus, Zach, most of the teams there, but we didn't have a tent party, and that was one of the things we just didn't get to experience. We wish we had the tent party back. It was fun times.
Did you get to go as a student? Did you guys go to the tent party as students?
I did go to tent party as a student my junior and senior year, because I turned 21 at that point, so I got to go in there, and it was just a great time to be able to like experience like being with the faculty and other students and like just enjoying each other's company, not as like student-teacher relations. You're just there having fun, celebrating, time at Lees-McRae in the mountains, the good music, just being in a carefree, more environment. It did get hot in there too. Like it was toasty in that tent, but it was fun in there.
What about you, Steve? What do you remember from the guys coming back for homecoming?
Last year, just like what Ty talked about with him and Zach and Keegan and them, that hit their crew, just super proud of their crew. That they were on that championship team together. They bonded from freshman year on. I would say athletically, they probably wanted more individual things, but the pure stuff of friendships that they built, I think, will last lifetime with that crew, and they're still attached at the hip, which is a really thing to see. And all four are doing great in the business world and on to that next step. So that's something I'm super proud about, and getting to see them come back, and it's how they've matured, but then also get together and get to be a student and a kid again, and have some fun with that is it's pretty cool to see. I got to hang out with them. It was cold. I got to hang out with them when I think a band was on campus late at night, and it was just kind of myself with maybe 4 or 5 of them at a table, and that was fun for sure.
What advice would you give? Because I know it's different right now for the students. The basketball team right now isn't going to get a traditional homecoming. It's not a traditional fall season for anybody, or maybe even winter. We don't know what's ahead. But knowing that they're not going to get to experience the homecoming the typical way, what advice would you have for them right now as they're going into this, homecoming weekend, Spirit Week, and then, hopefully some basketball this winter with everything going on?
For me, it's just take advantage of all the opportunities. This is one of those interesting times, the most atypical time possible, but there's still going to be some silver linings there. You're going to be able to have some friends and fun. It's in a different way. And I wanted everyone to take advantage of the time y'all have there and just kind of cherish that time on the mountain and just be with each other as much as possible. I mean, responsibly, but together.
Yeah. What's your favorite? Now, clearly, it was probably winning the championship, and I wasn't here then, but I swear I've probably heard this story. When people talk about that moment, their eyes light up. I mean, you've got alums from, the Smalls and Mary Taylor, who works downstairs for me, with me, for the college. She used to be in student affairs and now she works with us. Like, they light up. Their eyes are just that moment. So, if that was, is that the highlight of your career here, or what was like the pinnacle of your time here as a student?
That was definitely the highlight of my time as a student there. Just being a part of the team that came together so beautifully. The second everyone got on campus that year, everything just clicked. There was no drama. It was just smooth sailing all the way through. I mean, with teams, obviously, you're going to have a little chippiness here and there in practice and stuff, but I can't say I've ever been on a team that gelled, that bonded. It was the most surreal time. And then, like, on campus, everything just kind of clicked on campus. Everything was fun. That was definitely the highlight of my time there.
What do you think it was? Like, when you look back and there's leaders on the team now under Coach Hardin, and, what was it that you could tell them, like, if you could just bottle it up and say, and every different successful program has a different combination of what makes them tick and what's successful. But what was it for you guys that you could say, this was it? Whether it was you looked out for each other, or, you checked in on each other, or what was it?
Everyone pretty much knew their role, and just like we did our role to the best of our abilities. Everyone would hold each other accountable for any issues we had off the court. We didn't really have that many issues off the court that year, particularly. And I think everyone just understood that we were working toward something bigger than just, playing some games and winning some games that year. I think everyone bought into the mentality of, but let's get this done. Let's win the next one. Let's continue to win down the road.
What was the time that Coach Hardin was the most angry with you guys, the most upset? What did you guys do?
That year,
I used to love when
that's a loaded question there, but I'd say.
Well, I'm telling you, my players would get together and they would talk about. That was one of the funniest things, is when they'd ask each other, like, do you remember when Coach was the most mad at us? Or how about that morning? There was one morning when it was a 6 o'clock practice, and I was the only time I'd ever overslept in 12 years, and I showed up at 6:30. And one of the girls, Sarah Hawley, I'll never forget, was like, Coach, man, got some extra sleep today? And I mean, and everyone just stopped in their tracks, like, oh, and she's about to get sent back to bed. But those are the funny ones. So tell me some funny ones, that he was the most.
There's two.
Okay.
The one that was probably the most mad is that we went down to Puerto Rico and played, and we lost to a team that we should not have lost to due to other things going on that week. And we lost the game, and he got so mad that after the game, we're all untying our shoes, getting ready to go. And he's like, you know what? Get back on the line. So after the game, we're running sprints in the gym, and everyone's like wrapping up, trying to go home. And they're like, these guys are running after just taking an L? And then another one was one morning we had practice, and I don't know if you've ever been in our gym in the mornings, but the sun comes through at the perfect angles to just blind some people. And, and one day we were practicing, and we had an iffy practice that day, and Coach Hardin was already a little upset, and he asked Dante to pass him the ball. And he passed the ball to him in just the right way where he couldn't see the ball coming, and it just hit him. And I was the whole team was holding back some laughs, and then he just got mad and was like, run.
Yeah. Oh, so now, Steve, what about you? What's the memory you have the most about Tyriq and those guys that that they probably wouldn't want you to share?
Well, some good ones first. I'd say that I mean, what Ty said about that championship team and about that group, they turned into so much of just leaders by understanding the role, and sacrifice. I know that those are cliche words for sports and to do that, but for them to be able to do that, I mean, him and a lot of his guys could have been super individually successful on a lot of other teams in our league or in our level and all those kind of things. But by the time they became seniors, everybody just kind of bought into what we needed, and everybody was also next man up and was ready to go when their number was called too. On game wise, and practice was super competitive. We could split it up any way we wanted to, and everybody wanted to win. So that was one key thing that I think was made that group special, and also just the growth. That was the first time that I've ever had a team from freshmen all the way to seniors, naturally at Lees-McRae, and then also just to see their growth. I mean, they all came in, I'd probably tell wrong, but we had 10 seniors on that group, and I think we had maybe more than that as freshmen came in together. So we had a huge freshman class, and so they grew up and they learned those kind of things. And I think that part was really good with Ty. The probably more else would be just funny times is just that whole group on how they handled each other and how they handled certain situations. I knew like what Ty was talking about in Puerto Rico. Before we went to Puerto Rico, we pretty much had to lay the law down before we went to this tournament. And then we get there, and it is not what I thought it was going to be. As in, you're in a resort with literally how many, Ty? 25 to 50 other college teams, all staying, men's and women's, all staying in the same area.
Yes.
Oh, it's just, and so I wasn't, I guess, prepared for that. We all came on different flights. So myself and my wife and my kids came last with Cam Red, who was a senior that year, and a couple others. And by the time we get there, that crew was already making a scene and a little bit everywhere. So we had to quickly send everybody to my room and have rules and new rules and those kind of things. And so after losing, we pretty much talked about the value of being here and playing. And that first day that we lost, that was probably one of the most mad I've probably ever been. we did run after the game. We went back out there, and it was one of those almost movie scenes where Coach Jennings, Mr. Jennings, was actually looking at me and like, I think that's enough, and I just kept blowing the whistle again. And it was kind of an outdoor indoor court, so that it was outside almost, just with the roof, and the people are cleaning and they've got the lights turned off and all those kind of things. And we're still running, so it was almost like a movie scene on one of those.
Miracle.
It was. That's kind of how you feel. I guess I copied the Miracle. I guess. So we did miracle move.
No, but like we've all been there, and I think that's when it goes to, you talk about the growth, and you talk about knowing roles, and you talk about one of the things that the gentleman from the 59 class said this morning about Fred Dickerson. He said, right, there was something about him who, it wasn't about our sport, it was about taking us from boys into men, right, and it was about holding us accountable. And I think whether it was 60 years ago or now, that's kind of part about what college is, and especially being on a team. So, hey, look who it is.
I would just add on to say that I was blessed with like Ty and all his buddies that are super close. We're already pretty mature and did a lot of things to help out that process.
This is the Ty that we're talking about?
Yeah, that's Ty there. Yep.
Do you want me to tell you the first time he came in my office?
Uh-oh.
You don't remember that story? He's like, uh-oh.
Look at him. He's like, yo, I don't know what on.
Crying about some girl.
Oh, well, yeah. Those issues, those for sure.
I guess I should.
We were just talking about growth. We were talking about.
He's grown so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but that him and with his certain crew, just how they handled a lot of things, I was impressed with within the team, and you could count on Ty, or like you was talking about, Keegan or Zach, behind him somewhere there. Always, if you told them something and gave them pretty much in charge of something, they would take and do well with the team. And just like you talked about with roles, they were exceptional with roles.
What opportunity did Lees-McRae give you that you don't think that you would have had without it? Like from professors to sports, or what kind of brought you here, and what does that opportunity mean that you got?
Yeah, so what brought me there was like when I first went on my tour, I just knew that was going to be like a family environment. I went there and it was a little iffy at first because it was really cold, kind of cold outside and a little rainy. And I was like, I don't really know this is going to be it. But then as I just walked around and got to talk to more people just around campus, just saying hello to me, and I got to meet some of the professors. Then I got to meet Amy, and I was like, I like this place. I can see myself, staying out of trouble here, enjoying my time, getting some good scenery, and it just felt real homey. And so it wasn't really much of a choice at that point. It was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. The opportunities given me, this school's a very unique place where you will see all kinds of walks of life come through, and you'll also go through some tough times. And there, I was able to learn a lot about myself just in the area I was in. I got to play with some great teammates. I got to get taught by some good professors. I was all I really asked for out of a college experience, in my opinion.
Awesome. Words of wisdom for the next 120 years. Yeah, last question. So it's the 120-year anniversary. It's hard to imagine that 120 years of students have walked this campus in those dorms. Some of them, it's easy to imagine that they've been around for 120 years, but especially down where Amy's working. But next 120 years, words of wisdom.
Next 120 years. I guess it goes back to, again, just taking advantage of all the opportunities that come around. Just some small things like joining clubs, or just talking in class, sitting in the front of class, being more active and engaged around campus, because you never know what will happen down the road, who you will impact later on in life, or who could impact you. Just being more involved and having more just availability and proud about the things you do when you're on campus. Just do that, and I guarantee you enjoy your time there. You'll carry it forward through life, and it just makes life a little bit easier and better for you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for joining. I appreciate it. And Steve and Amy, thanks for hopping on.
We use Amy a lot for recruiting, and every campus visit we have, try to pull her out of class and everything else. And that's why Ty was talking about that. That helps us out. I'm glad Ty said that, because that's kind of what we do when we bring people on campus, to try to show them not anything like other schools where they try to give you just the good. We try to show everything, but really show the people. I think it's helped us in recruiting more than anything else. From Ty talked about it, but every kid that we have talks about that. They're like Alan and Amy, or somebody else that kind of what they felt like it was more real than just a cookie cutter visit and those kind of things.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You've impacted my life, Ty.
Thank you. I'm glad I have. You've definitely impacted mine, Amy.
Well,
You're
thanks.
awesome. Thank you, Katie. You're awesome. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's special here. I've been in a lot of small schools, and there's nothing like the family that people are. You said it. I think you said it, Tyriq and Steve. It's a family here, and I knew it the first time I met you, Amy. And that's why we came back 10 years later. And so it's rewarding to hear these conversations, because especially people who've been here for, you graduated a few years ago, and Coach, how you've been here for what, 6, 7, 8 years, something?
10, too long. 10. I've been 10.
10, and Amy, same with you guys.
I know, we both. We came in. I was usually jumping everywhere, and I stuck. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. You guys have a good weekend, and let's Steve, if you ever need anything, just
thanks.
let me know. And I appreciate you when I needed this. You being here and for everything. So
Awesome. Thanks.
have a good weekend. Bye. Thanks.